Every single day, more than 1,000 adults over the age of 60 lose their lives due to complications linked to high blood pressure in the United States alone. That means while you are reading this, someone in that age group is experiencing a preventable medical crisis caused by pressure that has been silently damaging their heart, brain, and blood vessels for years. What makes this reality especially painful is that high blood pressure is often treated as an unavoidable part of aging, something people are expected to live with once they reach a certain stage of life. Many are told it is just genetics or that medication is the only option left. But the science tells a very different and far more hopeful story. Large population studies have now followed tens of thousands of older adults for more than a decade, tracking not just their blood pressure readings, but their daily behaviors, stress levels, movement patterns, and recovery habits. The results have been eye-opening. Researchers found that people who practice small, consistent daily habits had dramatically lower rates of heart attacks, strokes, and cardiovascular deaths, even when their starting blood pressure was high. These improvements did not require drastic lifestyle overhauls, strict diets, or exhausting exercise programs. In fact, many participants made changes that took less than 10 minutes a day. Over time, those minutes added up to years of healthier life. What this research makes clear is that blood pressure is not a fixed number that only changes with medication. It is a dynamic measurement that responds continuously to what you do throughout the day. Every breath you take, every movement you make, and even the way your nervous system responds to stress sends signals to your blood vessels. When those signals are calm and consistent, blood vessels remain more flexible, and the heart does not have to work as hard. When the signals are chaotic and stressful, pressure rises and damage slowly accumulates. Aging does not remove your body's ability to adapt. It simply means the signals you give it matter more than ever. One of the most encouraging findings from modern cardiovascular research is that older adults often respond just as well, and sometimes even better, to these gentle interventions than younger people do. This is because many of the underlying causes of high blood pressure after 60 are related to nervous system tension, inflammation, and reduced vascular flexibility, all of which can improve with the right daily practices. In multiple long-term studies, participants who adopted simple routines saw their risk of heart attack drop by more than a third and their risk of stroke fall by over 40%. Overall cardiovascular mortality declined significantly, not because of a single dramatic change, but because of small habits repeated day after day. This is why it is so important to rethink how we approach blood pressure at this stage of life. Instead of asking what pill to add next, the better question becomes what daily signal you are sending to your heart and blood vessels. Science has now identified specific habits that create powerful, positive responses at the cellular level, helping arteries become more elastic and hearts pump more efficiently. In the next few minutes, you will learn which of these habits matter most and why one simple 10-minute practice stands above the rest as one of the most effective tools available for lowering blood pressure after 60. One of the most overlooked drivers of high blood pressure in adults over 60 is constant activation of the nervous system. When the body remains in a prolonged state of alert, blood vessels stay slightly constricted, heart rate remains elevated, and pressure never fully settles down. This is not always caused by obvious stress or anxiety. It can come from years of accumulated tension, poor sleep, emotional strain, or simply a nervous system that has forgotten how to fully relax. Research now shows that calming this system for even short periods each day can create meaningful and lasting improvements in blood pressure. Listening to slow, steady music is one of the simplest ways to send a calming signal to the body. Clinical studies have shown that music with a consistent tempo between 60 and 80 beats per minute naturally synchronizes with the resting heart rate. When this synchronization occurs, the body responds automatically. Heart rate slows, blood vessels widen slightly, and stress hormones such as cortisol begin to drop. In controlled trials, adults who listened to slow-tempo music for just 10 minutes a day showed measurable reductions in systolic blood pressure compared to those who sat in silence. These were not temporary changes that vanished minutes later. Over time, baseline blood pressure readings shifted downward. What makes this effect especially powerful is that it does not require effort or concentration. The nervous system responds instinctively to rhythm. Gentle, predictable sound patterns tell the brain that the environment is safe, allowing the body to move out of a defensive state. Long-term studies have found that when older adults incorporate this practice daily, the calming response begins to carry over into the rest of the day. Even when the music is no longer playing, heart rate variability improves, which is a key marker of cardiovascular resilience and healthy blood pressure regulation. Emotional state plays an equally important role. Gratitude is often dismissed as a purely mental exercise, but research shows it has direct physiological effects on the heart. When people experience genuine appreciation, the heart shifts into a more coherent rhythm pattern. This smooth, ordered rhythm reduces strain on the cardiovascular system and lowers resistance in the blood vessels. Studies involving older adults who practice gratitude journaling showed reductions in inflammatory markers that are closely linked to hypertension and arterial stiffness. Less inflammation means blood flows more easily and pressure naturally declines. The effectiveness of gratitude comes from the feeling itself, not the act of writing. Taking a few minutes to acknowledge something meaningful and allowing the body to feel that appreciation triggers a cascade of calming signals. Shoulders soften, breathing slows, and tension releases from the chest. With repetition, the nervous system learns this calmer state as its new baseline. Over weeks, people begin noticing that their reactions to everyday stressors change. Situations that once caused spikes in pressure no longer have the same impact. These practices work because they address the root cause rather than the symptom. High blood pressure is often the result of a body that has been stuck in a stress response for too long. By gently teaching the nervous system how to downshift each day, blood pressure begins to stabilize naturally without force or strain. Physical activity is one of the most reliable ways to support healthy blood pressure. Yet many adults over 60 are given advice that feels overwhelming or unrealistic. Intense workouts, long gym sessions, or fast-paced routines can actually discourage consistency and in some cases temporarily raise blood pressure rather than lower it. Research shows that the body responds best to gentle, regular movement that supports circulation without creating stress. A short morning walk is one of the simplest and most effective ways to achieve this balance. Walking shortly after waking works with the body's natural rhythm. Blood pressure naturally rises in the morning as the body transitions from rest to activity. Gentle movement during this window helps moderate that rise and prevents sharp spikes that can strain the cardiovascular system. Studies comparing morning and evening exercise found that people who walked in the morning experienced lower blood pressure throughout the entire day. This effect was not limited to the time of the walk itself. The benefits carried over for hours, suggesting that morning movement helps set a calmer baseline for the heart and blood vessels. The pace of the walk matters less than its consistency. A comfortable speed where breathing remains steady and conversation is possible is ideal. This level of effort encourages blood vessels to relax and improves endothelial function without triggering a stress response. Over time, regular walking helps arteries become more flexible, allowing blood to flow more easily with less pressure. Walking faster is fine if it feels good, but pushing to the point of discomfort or breathlessness is unnecessary and can be counterproductive for those already managing high blood pressure. Where you walk also makes a difference. Research on outdoor walking consistently shows greater blood pressure reductions compared to indoor treadmill walking. Exposure to natural light, fresh air, and greenery lowers stress hormones and improves mood, which further supports cardiovascular health. Even a simple neighborhood walk with trees or open sky provides benefits beyond movement alone. When outdoor walking is not possible, indoor walking still helps, but adding elements like open windows or natural light can enhance the effect. Hydration and beverage choices also play a role in daily blood pressure control. Hibiscus tea has gained attention because of its strong research support. Studies have shown that regular consumption of hibiscus tea can lower systolic blood pressure by several points within weeks. Its naturally occurring compounds help relax blood vessels and reduce arterial stiffness. These effects are gentle but cumulative, making hibiscus tea an easy addition to a daily routine. The key to success with both movement and hydration is simplicity. A 10-minute walk and a cup of tea require little planning, no special equipment, and minimal effort. When practiced consistently, these small habits send repeated signals of safety and balance to the cardiovascular system. Over time, those signals add up to lower resting blood pressure and improved overall heart health. One of the fastest ways to influence blood pressure is through the breath. Breathing patterns directly communicate with the nervous system, telling the body whether it is safe to relax or needs to stay alert. In adults over 60, years of shallow or rapid breathing can keep the body in a low-level stress response that maintains elevated blood pressure. Research shows that slowing the breath for even a few minutes a day can begin reversing this pattern in a meaningful way. Clinical trials reviewed by major heart health organizations have consistently found that slow, deep breathing lowers systolic blood pressure within weeks. The most effective range is fewer than 10 breaths per minute, which may sound challenging but becomes comfortable with practice. When breathing slows, pressure sensors in the blood vessels send signals to the brain that reduce sympathetic nervous system activity. As this happens, blood vessels relax and resistance decreases. Unlike temporary relaxation techniques, this retrains the system to accept lower pressure as normal rather than an exception. The technique itself is simple and does not require any equipment. Sitting comfortably with the back supported allows the body to relax fully. Breathing in slowly through the nose encourages deeper engagement of the diaphragm, which is key for activating calming pathways. Allowing the belly to gently expand while keeping the chest relaxed ensures the breath reaches deeper lung areas. Extending the exhale slightly longer than the inhale increases activation of the vagus nerve, which further reduces heart rate and blood pressure. Practicing this pattern for 10 minutes a day creates a cumulative effect that grows stronger over time. Nutrition works alongside breathing to shape daily blood pressure patterns. Among all dietary factors studied, the balance between sodium and potassium has one of the strongest and most consistent effects. Too much sodium causes the body to retain fluid, increasing blood volume and pressure within the vessels. Potassium helps counteract this by encouraging the kidneys to remove excess sodium while also relaxing blood vessel walls. Many adults consume far more sodium than recommended and far less potassium than the body needs, creating a constant upward pressure on blood readings. Correcting this imbalance does not require strict dieting or eliminating favorite foods. Small adjustments at each meal can make a significant difference. Choosing fresh or lightly processed foods reduces hidden sodium intake. Replacing salt with herbs, spices, and natural flavorings maintains enjoyment without the pressure-raising effects. Adding potassium-rich foods such as leafy greens, beans, avocados, and potatoes supports vascular health throughout the day. Research from large dietary studies shows that these changes can lower blood pressure as much as some medications, especially in older adults. The power of these practices lies in their consistency rather than intensity. 10 minutes of slow breathing and a few mindful food choices send steady signals of balance to the cardiovascular system. Over time, these signals reshape how the body regulates pressure, leading to more stable readings and reduced strain on the heart and blood vessels. Among all the non-medication strategies studied for lowering blood pressure in adults over 60, one simple practice continues to stand out for its strength and consistency. Isometric hand grip exercise has produced some of the most impressive results ever recorded outside of prescription treatment. Researchers have repeatedly observed meaningful reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure after only a few weeks of regular practice. What makes this approach especially valuable is that it requires very little time, no complex movement, and minimal physical strain, making it accessible for nearly everyone. The reason this exercise works so well lies in how blood vessels adapt to gentle, controlled stress. When you squeeze a hand grip device, stress ball, or even a rolled towel at moderate intensity, blood flow to the forearm muscles is briefly reduced. When you release the grip, blood rushes back through the vessels. This repeated cycle trains the arteries to become more flexible and responsive. Over time, this improved flexibility carries over into the rest of the circulatory system, allowing blood to move with less resistance and lower pressure throughout the day. Large analyses published in respected medical journals have shown that isometric hand grip training can lower systolic blood pressure by around 10 points on average, with some individuals experiencing even greater reductions. These results often match or exceed the effects of traditional aerobic exercise alone. Cardiologists consider these changes clinically meaningful because even a small drop in blood pressure significantly reduces the risk of heart attack and stroke. Importantly, these improvements occur without placing extra strain on the joints, back, or knees, which is a major concern for older adults. The most effective routine is straightforward. Squeezing at about 30% of your maximum strength for roughly 2 minutes, followed by a short rest, provides the strongest benefit. Alternating hands allows both sides of the body to adapt evenly. Completing several rounds takes about 10 minutes total. The goal is steady pressure, not maximum effort. Straining too hard is unnecessary and does not improve results. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Practicing this once daily, preferably at the same time each day, helps the nervous and cardiovascular systems adapt more quickly. Many people begin noticing changes in their blood pressure within 3 to 4 weeks, with continued improvement over 2 to 3 months. Some research suggests splitting the practice into 2 shorter sessions may provide additional benefits, but even a single daily session is effective. This habit works best when combined with the other gentle practices that support relaxation, movement, and nutrition. Together, they create a powerful foundation for long-term blood pressure control. 10 minutes a day may seem small, but repeated daily, it becomes one of the most valuable investments you can make in your heart health.